Hello all. Today we are going to discuss about the uses of computer networks. I am Dr. TV Sai Krishna. Now we will see what are the uses of computer networks. So before we start to examine the technical issues in detail, it is worth devoting some time to pointing out why people are interested in computer networks and what they can be used for. After all, if nobody were interested in computer networks, few of them would be built. We will start with traditional uses at companies, then move on to home networking and recent developments regarding mobile users and finish with social issues. The first and foremost use important use of computer networks is business applications. Most companies have a substantial number of computers. For example, a company may have a computer for each worker and use them to design products, write brochures, and do the payroll. Initially, some of the computers may have worked in isolation from the others, but at some point, management may have decided to connect them to be able to distribute information throughout the company. So, put in slightly more general form, the issue here is resource sharing. What is the issue here? The issue here is resource sharing. The goal is to make all programs, equipment, and especially data available to anyone on the network without regard to the physical location of the resource or the user. Here, a clear and widespread example is having a group of office workers share a common printer. We all see that nowadays in an office we cannot provide a single printer to each and every employee. So we can see that a group of office workers or employees share a common printer. So none of the individuals really needs a private printer. Okay, a separate printer is not necessary actually. And a high volume networked printer is often cheaper, faster, and easier to maintain than a large collection of individual printers. So here, however, probably even more important than sharing physical resources such as printers and tape backup systems is sharing information. Companies, whether they may be small and large, they are vitally dependent on computerized information. Most companies have customer records, product information, inventories, financial statements, tax information, and much more online. If all if, if all of its computers suddenly shut down, for example, a bank could not last more than 5 minutes. A modern manufacturing plant with a computer controlled assembly line would not last even 5 seconds. Even a small travel agency or three-person law firm is now highly dependent on computer networks for allowing employees to access relevant information and documents instantly. For smaller companies, if you take, all the computers are likely to be in a single office or perhaps a single building. But for larger ones, the computers and employees may be scattered over dozens of offices and plants in many countries. Nevertheless, a salesperson in New York might sometimes need access to a product inventory database in Singapore. Networks called VPNs. We call it VPN means what is the full form? Virtual private networks may be used to join the individual networks at different sites into one extended network. In other words, the mere fact that a user happens to be 15,000 kilometers away from his data should not prevent him from using the data as though they were local. This goal may be summarized by saying that it is an attempt to end the tyranny of geography. In the simplest of terms, one can imagine a company's information system as consisting of one or more databases with company information and some number of employees who need to access them remotely. In this model, the data are stored on powerful computers called servers. Often, these are centrally housed and maintained by a system admin. In contrast, the employees have simpler machines called clients on their desks with which they access the remote data. For example, to include in spreadsheets they are constructing. Sometimes we will refer to the human user of the client machine as the client, but it should be clear from the context whether we mean the computer or its user by a client. So the client and server machines are connected by a network as illustrated in this figure. You can see in this figure we can clearly see that the client and server machines are connected by a network. Note that we have shown the network as a simple oval without any detail. We will use this form when we mean a network in the most abstract sense. When more detail is required, it will be provided. So this whole arrangement is called the client-server model. It is widely used and forms the basis of much network usage. The most popular realization is that of a web application in which the server generates web pages based on its database in response to client requests that may update the database. So the client server model is applicable when the client and server are both in the same building and belong to the same company, but also when they are far apart. For example, when a person at home accesses a page on the World Wide Web, the same model is employed with the remote web server being the server and the user's personal computer being the client. Under most conditions, one server can handle a large number, hundreds or thousands of clients simultaneously. If we look at the client server model in detail, we see that two processes, that is running programs, are involved, one on the client machine and one on the server machine. Communication takes the form of the client process sending a message over the network to the server process. So we can see in detail how this client machine is going to send the request to the server. The communication here you can see that takes the form of the client process sending a message over the network to the server process. The client process then waits for a reply message. When the server process gets the request, it performs the requested work or looks up the requested data and sends back a reply. These messages are clearly shown in this figure you can see. Next, what is the second goal of setting up a computer network has to do with people rather than the information or even computers. So here we can see the important application is web application we have seen now. What is the second goal of setting up a computer network? It has to do with the people rather than information or even computers. So it is centrally surrounded by the people. So here a computer network can provide a powerful communication medium among employees. Virtually every company that has two or more computers now has email, that is electronic mail, which employees generally use for a great deal of daily communication. In fact, a common gripe around the water cooler is how much email everyone has to deal with. Much of it quite meaningless because bosses have discovered that they can send the same message to all their subordinates at the push of a button. Coming to the next one is VoIP. VoIP is nothing but voice over IP, or we call it as IP telephony. Telephone calls between employees may be carried by the computer network instead of by the phone company. This technology is called IP telephony or voice over IP when internet technology is used. So the microphone and speaker at each end may be belonging to a VoIP-enabled phone or the employee's computer. Companies find this a wonderful way to save on their telephone bills. Other richer forms of communication are made possible by computer networks. Video can be added to audio so that employees at distant locations can see and hear each other as they hold a meeting. This technique is a powerful tool for eliminating the cost and time previously devoted to travel. Desktop sharing lets remote workers see and interact with a graphical computer screen. This makes it easy for two or more people who work far apart to read and write a shared blackboard or write a report together. When one worker makes a change to an online document, the others can see the change immediately instead of waiting several days for a letter. Such a speed up makes the cooperation among the far flung groups of people easy where it previously had been impossible. Next, we have what is called e-commerce. A third goal for many companies is doing business electronically, especially with customers and suppliers. This new model is called e-commerce or electronic commerce, and it has grown rapidly in recent years. Airlines, bookstores, and other retailers have discovered that many customers like the convenience of shopping and from home. Consequently, many companies provide catalogs of their goods and services online, take orders online. Manufacturers of automobiles, aircraft, and computers, among others, buy subsystems from a variety of suppliers and then assemble the parts. Using computer networks, manufacturers can place orders electronically as needed. This reduces the need for large inventories and enhances the efficiency. And next important application of computer networks is home applications. In 1977, Ken Olsen was president of the Digital Equipment Corporation, then the number two computer vendor in the world, that is after IBM. When asked why digital was not going after the personal computer market in a big way, he said, there is no reason for any individual to have a computer in his home. History showed otherwise, and digital no longer exists. People initially bought computers for word processing and games. Recently, the biggest reason to buy a home computer was probably for internet access. Now, many consumer electronic devices such as set-top boxes, game consoles and clock radios come with embedded computers and computer networks, especially wireless networks, and home networks are broadly used for entertainment, including listening to, looking at, and creating music, photos, and videos. Internet access provides home users with connectivity to remote computers. As with companies, home users can access information, communicate with other people, and buy products and services with e-commerce. The main benefit now comes from connecting outside of the home. Bob Metcalfe, the inventor of Ethernet, hypothesized that the value of a network is proportional to the square of the number of users because this is roughly the number of different connections that may be made. This hypothesis is known as Metcalfe's law. It helps to explain how the tremendous popularity of the internet comes from its size. Access to remote information comes in many forms. It can be surfing the World Wide Web for information or just for fun. Information available includes the arts, business, cooking, government, health, history, hobbies, recreation, science, sports, travel, and whatnot, many others. Fun comes in too many ways to mention, plus some ways that are better left unmentioned. Many newspapers have gone online and can be personalized. For example, it is sometimes possible to tell a newspaper that you want everything about corrupt politicians, big fires, scandals involving celebrities, and epidemics, but no football. Thank you. Sometimes it is possible to have the selected articles downloaded to your computer while you sleep. As this trend continues, it will cause massive unemployment among 12-year-old paper boys. But newspapers like it because Distribution has always been the weakest link in the whole production chain. Of course, to make this model work, they will first have to figure out how to make money in this new world. Something not entirely obvious since internet users expect everything to be free. The next step beyond newspapers plus magazines and scientific journals is the online digital library. Many professional organizations such as the ACM and the IEEE Computer Society already have all their journals and conference proceedings online. Electronic book readers and online libraries may make printed books obsolete. Skeptics should take note of the effect the printing press had on the medieval illuminated manuscript. And next, much of this information is accessed using the client server model, but there is different popular model for accessing information that goes by the name of peer-to-peer communication. In this form, individuals who form a loose group can communicate with others in the group. Every person can, in principle, communicate with one or more other people. There is no fixed division into clients and servers. And next application that is here in the home applications, we can see what is the first one is instant messaging. Any teenager worth his or her salt is addicted to instant messaging. This facility derived from the Unix talk program in use since around 1970 allows the two people to type messages at each other in real time. There are multi-person messaging services too, such as Twitter, service that lets people send short text messages called tweets to their circle of friends or other willing audiences. The internet can be used by applications to carry audio, example, internet radio stations and video, example, YouTube. Besides being a cheap way to call to distant friends, these applications can provide rich experiences such as telelearning, meaning attending 8 a.m. classes without the inconvenience of having to get out of bed first. In the long run, the use of networks to enhance human to human communication may prove more important than any of the others. It may become hugely important to people who are geographically challenged, giving them the same access to services as people living in the middle of a big city. Next, between person to person communications and accessing information are social network applications. Here, the flow of information is driven by the relationships that people declare between each other. One of the most popular social networking sites is Facebook. It lets people update their personal profiles and shares the updates with other people who they have declared to be their friends. Other social networking applications can make introductions via friends of friends, send news messages to friends such as Twitter above, and much more. Even more loosely, groups of people can work together to create content also. A wiki, for example, is a collaborative website that the members of a community edit. The most famous wiki is the Wikipedia. An encyclopedia anyone can edit, but there are thousands of other wikis. What is our third category is electronic commerce is the broadest sense of the term. Home shopping is already popular and enables the users to inspect the online catalogs of thousands of companies. Some of these catalogs are interactive, showing products from different viewpoints and in configurations that can be personalized. After the customer buys a product electronically but cannot figure out how to use it, online technical support may be consulted. Another area in which e-commerce is widely used is access to financial institutions. Many people already pay their bills, manage their bank accounts, and handle their investments electronically. This trend will surely continue as networks become more secure. One area that virtually nobody foresaw is electronic flea markets, e-flea. Online auctions of second-hand goods have become a massive industry. For example, OLX, we can send the second-hand goods. Unlike traditional e-commerce, which follows the client-server model, online auctions are peer-to-peer in the sense that consumers can act as both buyers and sellers. We can see eBay also. So here What is the other fourth category? Our fourth category is entertainment. This has made huge strides in the home in recent years, with the distribution of music, radio, and television programs and movies over the internet beginning to rival that of traditional mechanisms. Nowadays, we can see OTTs also. Users can find, buy, and download MP3 songs and DVD quality movies and add them to their personal collection. TV shows now reach many homes via IPTV, IP television systems that are based on IP technology instead of cable TV or radio transmissions. Media streaming applications let users tune into internet, radio stations, or watch recent episodes of their favorite TV shows. Naturally, all of this content can be moved around your house between different devices, displays, and speakers, usually with a wireless network. Soon it may be possible to search for any movie or television program ever made in any country and have it displayed on your screen instantly. New films may become interactive, where the user is occasionally prompted for the story direction. Another form of entertainment we all know is game playing. Already we have multi-person real-time simulated games like hide and seek in a virtual dungeon and flight simulators with the players on one team trying to shoot down the players on the opposing team. Our largest and last category is ubiquitous computing, in which computing is embedded into everyday life, as in the vision of Mark Weiser. Many homes, we call it them as IoT. Many homes are already wired with security systems that include door and window sensors, and there are many more sensors that can be folded into a smart home monitor, such as energy consumption. Your electricity, gas, and water meters could also report usage over the network. This would save money as there would be no need to send out meter readers. And your smoke detectors could call the fire department instead of making a big noise. As the cost of sensing and communication drops, more and more measurement and reporting will be done with networks. Increasingly, consumer electronic devices are networked. For example, some high-end cameras already have a wireless network capability and use it to send photos to a nearby display for viewing. Professional sports photographers can also send their photos to their editors in real time, first wirelessly to an access point, then over the internet. Devices such as televisions that plug into the wall can use power line networks to send information throughout the house over the wires that carry electricity. It may not be very surprising to have these objects on the network, but objects that we don't think of as computers may sense and communicate information too. For example, your shower may record water usage, give you visual feedback while you lather up, and report to a home environmental monitoring application when you are done to help save on your water bill. A technology called RFID, radio frequency identification, will push this idea even further in the future. RFID tags are passive, that is, have no battery chips, the size of stamps, and they can already be affixed to books, passports, pets, credit cards, and other items in the home and out. So this lets RFID readers locate and communicate with the items over a distance of up to several meters depending on the kind of RFID. Originally, this radio frequency identification was commercialized to replace barcodes. It has not succeeded yet because barcodes are free and RFID tags cost a few rupees. Of course, RFID tags offer much more and their price is rapidly declining. They may turn the real world into the Internet of Things. Next, mobile users. Now, mobile computers such as laptop and handheld computers are one of the fastest growing segments of the computer industry. The sales have already overtaken those of desktop computers. Why would anyone want one? People on the go often want to use their mobile devices to read and send email, tweet, watch movies, download music, play games, or simply to surf the web for information. They want to do all of the things they do at home and in the office. Naturally, they want to do them from anywhere on land, sea, or in the air. Connectivity to the internet enables many of these mobile users. Since having a wide connection is impossible in cars, boats, and airplanes, there is a lot of interest in wireless networks. Cellular networks operated by the telephone companies are one familiar kind of wireless network that blankets us with the coverage of for mobile phones. Wireless hotspots. Nowadays we can see mobile hotspots based on the 802.11 standard are another kind of wireless network for mobile computers. They have sprung up everywhere the people go, resulting in a patchwork of coverage at caves, hotels, airports, schools, trains, and planes. Anyone with a laptop and a wireless modem can just turn on their computer on and be connected to the internet through the hotspot as though the computer were plugged into a wide network. Wireless networks are of great value to fleets of trucks, taxis, delivery vehicles, and repair personnel for keeping in contact with their home base. For example, in many cities, taxis drivers are the independent businessmen rather than being employees of a taxi company. In some of these cities, the taxis have to display the driver, have a display the driver can see. When a customer calls up, a central dispatcher types in the pickup and destination points. Now we can see this Rapido, Uber. There are so many companies. Wireless networks are also important to the military. If you have to able to fight a war anywhere on earth at short notice, counting on using the local networking infrastructure is probably not a good idea. It is better to bring your own wireless. So, although wireless networking and mobile computing are often related, they are not identical. Next, we have see there are finally true mobile wireless applications such as people walking around stores with handheld computers recording the inventory. Perhaps the key driver of mobile wireless applications is the mobile phone. SMS, what we say, text messaging or texting is tremendously popular. It let's say mobile phone user type a short message that is then delivered by the cellular network to another mobile subscriber. Few people would have predicted 10 years ago that having teenagers tediously typing short text messages on mobile phones would be an immense money maker for telephone companies. But texting or short message service, as it is known, is very profitable since it costs the carrier but a tiny fraction of 1 cent to relay a text message, a service for which they charge far more. Next, we have location sharing. Since mobile phones know their locations often because they are equipped with GPS, global positioning system receivers, some services are intentionally location dependent. Mobile maps, we can see Google Maps, and directions are an obvious candidate as your GPS enabled phone and car probably have a better idea of where you are than you do. So too are searches for a nearby bookstore or Chinese restaurant or a local weather forecast. Other services may record location, such as annotating photos and videos with the place at which they were made. This annotation is known as geotagging. Nowadays, you can see that we are taking pictures with a geotag. In our mobile phone, we are having so many geotag apps, applications that we can easily download through the Play Store and we can make use of the geotagging. This geotagging enables us to clearly locate exactly the longitude, latitude, and also the timings and the day, and everything will be accurately and precisely marked. An area in which mobile phones are now starting to be used is m-commerce, that is mobile commerce. Short text messages from the mobile are used to authorize payments for food in vending machines, movie tickets, and other small items instead of cash and credit cards. Nowadays, we can see that we have Phone Pay, Google Pay. Okay, through this, we can make use of this. That is mobile commerce. Next, NFC. What is NFC stands for Near Field Communication. When equipped with NFC technology, the mobile can act as an RFID smart card and interact with a nearby reader for payment. The driving forces behind this phenomena are the mobile device makers and network operators who are trying hard to figure out how to get a piece of the e-commerce pie. From the store's point of view, this scheme may save them most of the credit card company's fee, which can be several percent. And next we have wearable computing, sensor networks. No doubt, the users of mobile and wireless computers will grow rapidly in the future as the size of computer is going to reduce, probably in ways no one can now foresee. Let us take a quick look at some possibilities. Sensor networks are made up of nodes that gather and wirelessly relay information they sense about the state of the physical world. The nodes may be part of familiar items such as cars or phones, or they may be small separate devices. For example, your car might gather data on its location, speed, vibration, and fuel efficiency from its onboard diagnostic system and upload this information to a database. Those data can help find potholes, plan trips around congested roads, and tell you if you are a gas guzzler compared to other drivers on the same stretch of road. Sensor networks are revolutionizing science by providing a wealth of data on behavior that could not previously be observed. One example is tracking the migration of individual zebras by placing a small sensor on each animal. Researchers have packed a wireless computer into a cube 1 mm on edge. With mobile computers, the even small birds, rodents, and insects can be tracked. Even mundane uses such as in parking meters can be significant because they make use of data that were not previously available. Wireless parking meters can accept credit or debit card payments with instant verification over the wireless link. They can also report when they are in use over the wireless network. So next, last one is wearable computers. They are another promising application. Smartwatches with radios have been part of our mental space since their appearance in the Dick Tracy comic strip in the year 1946. Now you can buy them. Other such devices may be implanted, such as pacemakers and insulin pumps. Some of these can be controlled over a wireless network. This lets doctors test and reconfigure them more easily. It could also lead to some nasty problems if the devices are insecure, as the average PC can be hacked easily. And next, last one are the social issues that we come across. Computer networks like the printing press 500 years ago allow ordinary citizens to distribute and view content in ways that were not previously possible. But along with the good comes the bad, as this newfound freedom brings with it many unsolved social, political, and ethical issues. Let us just briefly mention a few of them. A thorough study would require a full book at least. Social networks, message boards, content sharing sites, and a host of other apps allow people to share their views with like-minded individuals. As long as the subjects are restricted to technical topics or hobbies like gardening, not too many problems will arise. The trouble comes with topics that people actually care about, like politics, religion, or sex. Views that are publicly posted may be deeply offensive to some people. Worse yet, they may not be politically correct. Furthermore, opinions need not be limited to text. High resolution color photographs and video clips are easily shared over computer networks. Some people take a live and let live view, but others feel that posting certain material, example, verbal attacks on particular countries or religions, pornography, etc., is simply unacceptable and that such content must be censored. Different countries have different and conflicting laws in this area. Thus, the debate rages. In the past, people have sued network operators, claiming that they are responsible for the contents of what they carry, just as newspapers and magazines are. The inevitable response is that a network is like a telephone company or the post office and cannot be expected to police what its users say. It should now come only as a slight surprise to learn that some network operators block content for their own reasons. Some users of peer-to-peer applications had the network service cut off because the network operators did not find it profitable to carry the large amounts of traffic sent by those applications. Those same operators would probably like to treat different companies differently. If you are a big company and pay well, then you get good service. But if you are a small time player, you get poor service. Opponents of this practice argue that peer-to-peer and other content should be treated in the same way because they are all just bits to the network. This argument for communications that are not differentiated by their content or source or who is providing the content is known as network neutrality. It is probably safe to say that this debate will go on for a while. Many other parties are involved in the struggle over content. For instance, pirated music and movies fueled the massive growth of peer-to-peer networks, which did not please the copyright holders who have threatened legal action. There are now automated systems that search peer-to-peer networks and fire off warnings to network operators and users who are suspected of infringing copyright. In the United States, these warnings are known as DMCA takedown notices after the digital millennium copyright. This search is an arms race because it is hard to reliably catch copyright infringement. Even your printer might be mistaken for a culprit. Computer networks make it very easy to communicate. They also make it easy for the people who run the network to snoop on the traffic. Okay, thank you.